My husband, 30M, abandoned our home and me, 27F, and our child, 3F. For the past month, we were having some serious issues. He was distant, spending more time away, but still his usual self. There was nothing on his phone, and he's been working a lot of hours legitimately. My dad just died, and I started wanting more emotional support from him. He wasn't receptive to me, but would go out a lot for himself without us. I knew who he was with and what he was doing, so I don't think anything was going on, but sometimes I got into my head because why wouldn't he want to spend more time with me? We still had sex, just not as often. I knew he was tired a lot, and I would have to do it all, and it was tough. Our whole relationship, he was very isolating and took over driving and all this stuff, and never really let me do anything. Then it was like a switch after the baby, and now I had to do it all or it wouldn't get done, and asking for any sort of help was a huge fight. I still couldn't drive. I'd place orders for grocery pickup for him to get when he had time to, and be berated over what I ordered. He has a temper and would threaten me and bruise my arms and legs if I ever said anything, or tried to get space and remove myself from a bad situation for a bit. I left once and he came and got me. He put on a nice show for a bit, but then became back to distant and angry and unappreciative of me. I didn't work since the baby, so I just got all this crap for it, but I took care of the baby and myself full time. I finally got a job to stop the issues, and then he'd just be sleeping, not really watching her, and there would be messes and a full diaper to change when I got home. So I stopped that job. It was only part-time too and didn't bring in a lot. He was always asking me to call off and stuff anyway. Around this time, he started pushing an older female coworker, 50F, to watch her for free if I work, and then he can sleep at home. I just didn't want that. He practically forced me to meet her and go on a trip with her, and she wasn't so bad really, but I found a babysitter site that was a benefit from his job, and I could get cheap babysitters that I would pick. He was adamant he didn't want any strangers to watch her. I was really tired of the fighting and shit, him basically never giving a crap about me or our child besides financially, and I said things I regret, but he made me feel so broken and angry. It made him say he wants to separate. He's unhappy. He's tired of doing everything and getting nothing. I'm emotionally abusive, all of this stuff, but he planned to just stay here, continue to financially support us, and we both just do our own thing. No other people, like we stay loyal to our vows, but friendship was fine. He started staying at work more often later than usual, smoking weed and stuff. I got pissed because I really just need him. I asked him to take me to my family's for a day, maybe a night, and he said he was having that lady over to clean up and take care of the dog while he slept then. I said no. I said she comes over, I'm not coming back. Whole drive he was reassuring and sweet, holding my hand saying everything will be fine, that things will get better for us. When he left us and returned home, he turned the baby cam off and wasn't willing to call me on video or anything. I knew she was there. He doesn't know how I know, but I knew. He was trying to tell me she wasn't. He just got so pissed and turned his shit off on me. Maybe nothing went on. I have no idea. But he went to work that night. Both of them left, and he said he'd come get me before he went to work, but I said no because it was so late and the baby was sleeping. I spent the night there. He had our only car seat and our only vehicle. He turned his phone off too. I knew she came back to the apartment after work too. I had to call someone to get us and take us home, and by the time we got there, they were gone together. House wasn't cleaned at all. I really don't know. He was gone all day with her. He was kind of messaging back at that point, but nothing good or reassuring. All I would get is they did nothing like that or anything. Some talk of money because he wanted to know what he could spend at dispensary. He wouldn't come home at all. I finally got him to stop in for our dog at 11 p.m. He said if I leave him alone for a bit and put work in fixing myself, i.e. therapy and getting a job, learning to live without depending on him, he'd come back. But him and the older lady are a package deal. If he comes home, she is still going to be around. He said he was going to sleep in car at work, come home in morning, but got a hotel from his family. He turned his location off when he found out I could see. Now to the next story, story 2. I'm guilty of emotional neglect and things may be ending. My wife, 38, and I, 38, have been married for 7 years, together for 9. We have no kids, other than a fat, lazy dog. We are incredibly compatible, have so many similar interests/passions, and have always been great at communicating and working through our issues. I have always felt that we truly are a great team. However, things have recently reached a breaking point where my wife has serious doubts about our future together and is considering separation. Some background. My wife is an incredibly empathetic and loving person. She lost her father 2 years ago, somewhat unexpectedly. I was not totally absent during this period, but I know I did not support her well at all, from an emotional standpoint. I have also never dealt with the loss of a parent. This has been the biggest wound to our relationship, but it is coupled with a death by 1,000 paper cuts of years of emotional neglect. Not asking about her day, not asking about her family, not checking in on her emotionally, not planning things for us to do, date night, etc. On top of that, we both got a terrible case of COVID last year, first time getting it, and I handled the stress of that situation miserably as well. Our sex life has also been lacking for years. I think she is absolutely stunning, and I am still incredibly attracted to her, but for some reason I struggle to initiate intimacy and to convey that feeling to her. We would go weeks, or even a few months without sex, which wouldn't change until she'd be the one to bring it up, even though we were both unhappy about it. This is something we have also talked about repeatedly, and something I haven't been able to consistently improve on. Our relationship has clearly been lacking passion for quite a while, and I am majorly to blame for that as well. These failings of mine have been brought to my attention repeatedly over the last few years. She would bring it up, I would vow to be better, to change, and I would for a little bit. I recognized I was hurting her, she wasn't getting what she needed, and that I needed to put in more effort to the relationship. But after a few weeks, I'd return to my old patterns, and the cycle would repeat. I care deeply about my wife, and I absolutely love her to the ends of the earth. Any difficult topic is also always brought up by her, and I've begun to recognize my tendency to simply avoid conflict/hard conversations. None of this has been intentional on my part, and it has been a really startling realization that I have been causing her this much pain, haven't been able to break this cycle of taking her for granted, and that she has felt alone with me for a while. Where things are at right now. A few weeks ago, things came to a head again and she broke down. She basically said she was done trying, done being the only one to put in effort, and done being emotionally available for me. She has been doing a lot of thinking about us and our future together, and is incredibly scared that I am unable to change, and that if she stays she will be unhappy/dissatisfied for the rest of her life. She has seen a lot of red flags in the way I have handled some very major life events so poorly, in my lack of emotional response/support, and doesn't feel like she can count on me in the future as we face even bigger life challenges. She also brought up that she has been having thoughts about seeking sex/attention outside our relationship. She has not to this point, just like she has had to seek emotional support outside our relationship due to me not supporting her needs. I am now in individual therapy, but it took me way too long to realize that I was unable to make a change in myself without outside help. For her, I think this feels like a case of too little, too late, and that my intentions at this point are still just selfishly motivated and feel disingenuous, only doing this now because of the threat of divorce. I don't blame her for feeling this way, because I clearly could have done more before now to try and fix things and be better. I do want to be better. I want her to be happy. We are entering into couples therapy as well, with our first appointment next week. I am hoping that this can help us begin to heal, but I am terrified that it really may be too late. Regardless of the outcome, though, I truly want her to be happy.